guys, what's going on? It's Mr. Hanson coming at you from Mr. Hanson 404. We are going to do a quick review on adding and subtracting polynomials. Some of you may have seen polynomials before. Basically, a polynomial is just an algebraic expression with more than one term. So in this parentheses right here, you have the 2x squared plus 3x plus 7, and that is given to you in terms of one polynomial. That's a trinomial with a leading degree of 2, or leading coefficient of 2 and a degree of 2. Second polynomial, 4x squared plus 5x plus 1, also a trinomial, also degree 2, leading coefficient of 4. You have a constant term of 1, and those are both marked in green. In those, you have an x squared term in each polynomial, and you have a x term in each polynomial. So to add them, you're just going to add coefficients. So 2x squared plus 4x squared is just 6x squared. You are not adding exponents in this situation because when you add polynomials, the exponents remain the same. Same thing for the combining like terms of the x terms and combining the like terms of the constant. So this is really just a practice of combining like terms. We talk about these in class of what we're trying to learn. And it got kind of weird, but whatever. What is a polynomial and how can we manipulate it? And today, if you finish this video and you're like, I can add and subtract polynomials, you did it. So let's just combine. Oh no, I'm missing my drawing tool. All right, so let's start with adding. Having a little bit of issues with Screencastify today in terms of getting the pen tool to work on full screen, so I'm gonna crop this a little bit. But all right, so I'm looking at it, I'm combining like terms. So for me, I always like to mark my like terms. Now I have the benefit of having more than one color to write with. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I'm gonna mark my x terms. Those are x to the first power terms, and I'm gonna mark my constants, and then I'm just gonna add them together. So we're always adding. Even if something is a negative number, you can always add. You're just combining. So an x combined with a positive 2x, that's a 1x, so that'd be 3x. And then a negative 2 combined with a positive 5 is just a positive 3. And that right there is your polynomial. You're done. You simplified. There's nothing else you can do. It's in descending order because the x term is first, and that x has the highest exponent in the problem. If you had like an x squared, that would come before the x. So hopefully you found along. Remember, if you have questions at all, just pause the video, write them down, send me an email, comment down below. I got you. All right. A little bit of practice. If you feel like, you know what, I think I got this, try it. Just pause the video right now. Pause it. Give it a shot. See if you can do it. And then I'm going to go ahead and get started. So on the first problem, I see y squared terms. I see a y term, and I see constant terms. So that tells me for sure my y squared terms got to go together. That's an automatic. Now the y term, there's no other y terms, so there's nothing to combine it with. So it's just going to drop down. And then my constants are right there. And I'm going to double underline them because if I didn't have colors, I would be just underlining each term with more lines. So let's go ahead and do the math. I get a 2y squared and a 3y squared. Now remember, we're not adding exponents here, so you get a 5y squared. And then 3y, that's descending order for you because that's 3y to the first, even though we normally don't write the 1. And then a 6 and a combined with a negative 4, that's 6 minus 4. That's 6 plus a negative 4. That's negative 4 plus 6, whatever you see. Either way you cut it, you're going to get a plus 2. And there's nothing else to do, so there's your trinomial. 3 terms, trinomial. Tricycle, bicycle, monologue, 1. All right, so the next one, I got some x squared terms right there. I've got some x terms right there, and I got some constants. So that's what I'm putting together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. Now it's just basic math, guys. So 2x squared, that's 2. And then the coefficient on the negative x squared is -1. So it's 2 and a -1. They fight. You got two guys on your team. I got one on my team. We take each other out. There's one of your guys left. That's an x squared. the 3x and a negative 4x, similar concept. You get a negative 1x or just a negative x. You write the 1x if you want to. And then a positive 9, negative 6 is going to make a positive 3. And that's a leading coefficient of 1, because there's a 1 there. Degree of 2, because that x squared is the second power. And that is what you get. So we are adding. I feel like this is pretty intuitive. You're just following your adding rules. So again, on this one, go ahead and pause the video and you can give it a shot now. You can do some vertical addition if you'd like. So I will show you guys how to do that. I'm going to move myself out of the way for a minute. Let's just cross out this the top one, because I'm not going to show you guys what I want to show you, but you could just rewrite it vertically. I know in class some of you guys do that, and that totally is fine. So if I had the second polynomial that I'm going to write the first one on top, 4x squared plus, actually, oops, said that wrong. I'm not going to write the first one on top because it has less terms. I'm going to put the term with the least amount of terms on the bottom, which is what that little note says, and that's just to help you line everything up. Think about it like old school subtraction and multiplication and all that, when you had to write very carefully. All right, so that's the top polynomial. Bottom polynomial, I'm going to line it up. So 4x squared is going underneath x squared. I know that because that's the same term number. I want to keep that together. Now that 3 is going to go here. So really, that means you don't have a x term, but you have like a 0x, which you could write as a placeholder if you'd like to, as long as you don't get twisted up by 0. So then old school addition time, you add the coefficient. So we get, I'm going to go this way just for not to write over that. We get 5x squared, 1 plus 4. Negative 3 plus 0 is negative 3. Bring the x along. And then 5 plus 3 is 8. Now, the reason I wanted to show you that one, not the top one, is because sometimes you're going to have polynomials that aren't the same type. They're not, it's not a binomial and a binomial, or a trinomial and a trinomial. And I want to make sure you don't get confused. If you did the top one, you just write it out trinomial plus trinomial, or this one has 4 terms, same thing. You do you. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. I'm not going to show all the problems that I have, but I want you to practice them. If you have questions, I can show you how to do it. Let's move on. So on this one, go ahead and you can do horizontal addition. You can do the underlining. You can do vertical. Maybe you found another way, which I'd love to hear about. But you do you. I'll quickly do the bottom one. So we get a 9x squared. And let's say I'm using the same color here. I'll be, say I just got a pencil or a pen like you might have. Double underline that, triple underline that. You can still do it. It's just a little, it's not as neat. So 9x squared and negative 13. Negative number has more value. It's farther from 0. Have a higher absolute value. So that tells me my coefficient is going to be a negative 4x squared. And then a positive 15 and a negative 11 is a positive 4x. And a positive 21 and a negative 26 is going to go negative, a negative 5. And again, if you're struggling with those positive negative addition, just look up how to add integers, positive negative integers, and work on that skill. So hopefully you got that. If you don't, let me know how I can help you. I can go back and do any of these problems for you guys. So let's keep it pushing. This is a little bit of math practice 3 right here. We're analyzing what's happening. So we're stating that there's something wrong here. So I'm gonna look at the first terms. Now these are both x to the 4th. And if you would add those, you would get 3x to the 4th. So that's great. That's good. I see the problem. So if you look at it, these x terms go together, mix to 0. That's beautiful. These constant terms like a negative 6. That's great. But now we have an x squared and x cubed, and this happens a lot. It really does. You can't add these together because they have different exponent values. This is a squared term. It makes a quadratic. This is a cubic. They're different. You cannot combine the coefficients of them. You can't add them. It's kind of similar to like fractions where you can't add unless you have common denominators. So this person went ahead and was like, yeah, let me go ahead and just add these up and get a 6x squared, and that's just wrong. You would have a negative x cubed term, and you would have a positive 5x squared term in this. So the answer would look like, it would really look like, oop, that's supposed to be a minus sign. negative x cubed plus 5x squared, 0. I'm not going to write it this time. You could put the plus 0x if you really want to. Negative 6. So that's a 4-term polynomial. It's got a leading coefficient of 3. That degree is 4 because that's the highest exponent that there is. And that's how you would handle an issue like that. Now, I know a lot of you guys struggle with your negative numbers and subtracting, so I'm gonna make it real simple. Let's just add. Let's just add. So if you have a subtraction problem, all you got to do is add the opposite. You're distributing the negative. This is like a negative 1. So you're going to go ahead and multiply it to each of those. When you do that, you're going to flip the sign of everything inside the polynomial, and we're really just going to add it. So I'm just going to write out the first polynomial again. The parentheses are there as placeholders. They separate things. You don't technically need them once you get rid of any distribution, but if you didn't have them right away, you wouldn't know to subtract. And my handwriting is bigger than I wish it was, but it is what it is. I'll make this work. So we got negative 5x squared. I wonder if this will let me write on top of my 5, like this little box with myself in it. See if I write. And then we got negative 4. Nope, it's not. So I'm gonna actually I'll move myself. Look at that, magician. Negative 4x which is going to become a positive 4x, and then a positive 6x can become a negative 6. I think I said an x. That's just a constant. So now that your terms are all there, you just got to round them up. So I don't have any other x cubed terms, so that one's good to go. 2x cubed. I have 2x squared terms, and with this I'm going to start crossing these out to help my brain see that, okay, I did that term already, because when you're doing this for a while or you're doing a lot of them, it's really easy to get confused. So 8 and a negative 5 is a positive 3, and then positive x positive 4 is positive 5x, and positive 10 negative 6 is positive 4. And congratulations, you just subtracted polynomials. That's all there's to it. So distribute the negative sign, or think about it like you're adding the opposite. You guys know how I feel about subtraction. I just like personally adding positive and negative numbers, but that's how that would work. Let's get to a couple more real quick. So in this case, we have 2 binomials, and I'm going to go ahead and show you a trick. Ooh, I hate that word. I'm going to show you guys how you can do this without actually rewriting the distribution. So you're going to, instead of subtracting, you're going to add the opposite. So let's turn that into an addition sign. And then we're going to turn each of these into negative signs because we're adding the opposite. So instead of subtracting a positive x and a positive 7, we're adding a negative of each of those. Let me change my color. So let's get this 5x squared. Ooh, 5x. I'm sorry. 5x. X. It's a negative x, so that's going to make a 4x. Negative 5, negative 7, that's going to be a negative 12. That's it. You're done. That's all you got to do. On this one right here, we're going to go ahead and flip the sign. So it's going to be adding, and we're going to distribute that negative, which turns all those into positive. So now this is a straight up addition problem. There is no negative signs involved at all. That's the type of energy I like to keep around me, no negative energy. Let's go ahead and do the math. So we get this 2x squared and positive 5x squared, which is going to give me 7x squared. And then I got the 3x and the 2x, which is going to give me a 5x. And I got a 2 and a 9, which makes 11. And that's my trinomial. That would graph to be a quadratic. It's a U. U shape. It's not a U. It keeps going. There we go. So if you're really careful in the setup, you shouldn't have too much trouble with the actual arithmetic of combining these like terms. That's all we're doing is CLT, combine those like terms. Let's see what I can leave you with. So here you go. These ones are a little trickier. Go ahead and pause, see if you can do it. I'm gonna do that bottom one and I'll show you how to do it, and then I'm gonna say we're out. So let's go ahead and do this after you've tried it, because you paused and you did this on your own paper or whatever. Now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this negative sign by changing all the signs. I'm going to add the opposites of everything. Add the opposites. Now I do not see any other cube terms, so that 7x cubed is just going to drop down. 7x cubed. Now, if you look in that first trinomial, because that's 3 terms, I don't see an x squared. So I'm going to go ahead and move the 3x squared right here into my expression. The negative 3x squared is just going to come along for the ride. Nothing happens to it. Now I have a 5x and a 4x. Combine those, you get a 9x positive. And then we got a positive 2 and a negative 4. That's a negative 2. So this polynomial has 4 terms. The leading coefficient is 7. The degree is 3. And we're good to go. So hopefully, guys, this was a quick way for you to learn how to add and subtract polynomials. At the end of the day, it's just combining like terms. Be careful with your signs. If you need a number line or something to assist you with those negatives, do what you got to do. The next time you guys see a polynomial video from me, I will be doing multiplication. So get to work. Practice these. If you have questions, please comment down below. Share this with somebody that might need to know how to do polynomials, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've been sitting under 200 for a while. Let's make that happen. See you guys later.